All right, all praise to the Most High Yahweh and to His Son, my brother, Amashiach Yahushai. Peace and blessings to my brothers and sisters from the Israelite tribes. All right, in this video, I just wanted to um, rant a little bit about some DNA information stuff. Um, so what we are looking at right here is a screenshot of somebody Nat Geo information. So this person has let's see. So this is dealing with a guy, a male's DNA information, because as you can see, we can see the autosomal DNA percentages at the top right here, with that 91% from Great Britain, and then we have the Y DNA. The Y DNA. Let me try to. The Y DNA dealing with the paternal group of R. It says RDF21 or R. Can't really read it too well. Yeah, okay. Yeah, R-DF21. And then the maternal haplogroup is dealing with H. So yeah, this is a uh, European Javidic person right here. But like I said before, with the R grouping, you see this R, and it just depends on the complexion type. If it's R1B, most likely the person could be a pale complexion R1B, but R1B is a complexion type given to dark complexion people as well. But I'm not really familiar with the R branches and the detail complexion type variance between the R1B versus the R1A grouping of people. But with the person having a maternal grouping of H, H will be one of the palest groups of Caucasian women. So this person would most likely be a very light complexion person. But I'm on TikTok often looking at for your page stuff, and people tend to have some videos dealing with DNA, some videos dealing with um, sarcasm on DNA, some people flirting with concepts of DNA on there, and me, I'm asking the person to share often more information about the video of what they are thinking and so on. And often you hear no or see no response to it, and it's because most people just want to make these videos for likes and shares to make money off it, and they don't inform their subscribers or followers. And me, I'm like, we should, as creators on any platforms, should be informing people about social information and other types of information that is rare to come by. And DNA is one of those things that is rare information to come by. And I'm like, why is it people or why are people, having this thing to where they're just sharing this autosomal this autosomal DNA. Let me see if I could go back. This autosomal percentage, and this is only telling you a small part of the story, especially if you are a woman and you are using this on any DNA platform as your real DNA. You only know a small percentage of your ancestry, because you should have information on your maternal line, and then hopefully you have a close male relative to get the information about your white DNA. But other than that, um, this whole DNA thing is like, okay, what does this information um, tells me about myself and the rest of my family and the people that I'm supposed to lay claim to? And it's supposed to answer a good percentage of those things. And if not, it should make you question what wasn't told or explained to you about those things. And so I was like, how come when it comes to all this information, when white people want to whitewash a lot of history, why don't everybody just go and get a DNA test done? And why don't everybody just, present these haplogroups, these branches, the maternal and the Y DNA information? And why don't they just, get into figuring out who they are? And once they do that, then they would know, especially if you are a white person dealing with European Japhetic ancestry, you would learn quick you are brand new. So let me go back. So this right here, this person is a brand new person. I like, let's see, is the maternal group older than the paternal group? Oh, no. Let's see. Oh well. So, and none of these people groups are that old. And yes, yes, there's a R1 group of people in Africa, and hopefully I could get into that information, because this R1 group is a interesting group. You have percentages of those people dealing with um, pale complexion European people, and then you have another grouping of the same people dealing with dark complexion European, African, and Native American groupings. And yes, I'm going to go ahead and say Native American grouping, because from the information that I've been explaining and studying, that is the case. And um, most of this rant is dealing around how many TikTok videos I see of Kemet stuff and Native American stuff, and it's dealing with, you know, these people groups. And some of these people groups are literally the same people, Native Americans. When it comes to Native American people, um, understanding their heritage, they don't know that they are closely related to those same people. Those same people are just the European branch of the Japhetic civilization, if you want to call them civil. And I'm not saying that to the Asian group. I'm saying it to the pale complexion grouping of people that conquered your own people and took their own land. So and I'm not saying that towards the dark complexion Native American people that been displaced and that are lacking representation and their identity and everything. I'm just saying that to those inconsiderate people that are parasites and that would take advantage of their own grandmother to get above in their life and in their own society. So on TikTok often commenting on different videos saying these are the same people. A lot of people go into shock. A lot of people have a mental breakdown because that's the case. When you get into the DNA information and you start to figure out who's who, you find out that this R group is closely related to the G, the H, the I, the J, and then all of a sudden, oh, nobody want to be related to the K group. The K group becomes a Aboriginal Australian grouping of people when that's not the case. You still have remnant of those same people in different European and Caucasian or Caucasus Mountain regions. So we have to understand, this DNA information is that key to where, oh, you want to lie or you want to whitewash stuff. Well, we have ways and methods of seeing if you are telling the truth or lying. So I saw one video on TikTok and they was talking about how DNA is a hoax and so on. And I commented, I was like, now that you know DNA exposed the two different groups of white people, y'all want to call it a hoax. Now that DNA have information on who are the Edomites, y'all want to say is a hoax. Now that DNA has information on who Israel is a hoax. And so this information all of a sudden is a hoax, and they tend to make people promote the autosomal percentages rather than the branches and the haplogroups of their maternal ancestry and their paternal ancestry. So I also saw a video on um, Lupita, the the Hamite from what's this movie? From Black Panther, and from other other movies, from us, and a few other decent movies. Uh, 12 Years a Slave. The same lady, she was on the Henry Gates show, and I couldn't remember the last time I seen the show, and Henry Gates shared with people a paternal group or a haplogroup of a maternal group of a person. But they shared Lupita maternal group, and her maternal group was L0. And I was like, well, it was to be expected because, you know, um, she grew up in Kenya, I believe, and then her and her father relocated to Mexico, or she was born in Mexico, or she was raised a majority of her life in Mexico. Either or, um, it doesn't takes away from her paternal or her paternal and her maternal roots. And I was like a little bit shocked that they, you know, told people that that information, because all I'm asking for on most YouTube videos and um, TikTok videos is for the creator to share more information about their DNA when they're are are using these formats, because most people, and some, like I said before, some DNA companies tend to not have all these formats or these layouts of maternal, paternal, and autosomal. So they just are left with these percentages that they have to try to read and guess what they are. And like I said before, this is just a mechanism of time, percentages of time. So, but this R1B group is a very interesting group to me, um, because you see them having this arrow. So my understanding of this, when they do something like this, especially with DNA, and you notice, so we have this, okay, we have this arrow structure, and you notice something when you go like this. You see nothing dealing with Africa on the percentages. So you have the maternal side, going from Africa to um, somewhere in Europe, probably Switzerland, probably northern France, and then you have the paternal grouping coming from Africa into deep Siberia. So most likely that R is like a R1A, but 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 when I look at these graphics, they tend to make me laugh because you have these arrows coming from Africa, and these percentages are not saying anything about that, But then you go to the bottom and it go, okay, this is what they did. They did this, we did this, and did that. So they wanna make it seem like everybody, and this is when those camps is when the Israelite camps tend to get afraid of DNA information because this autosomal is trying to tell everybody that you're collectively closely related in percentages to several groups of people. So you have several groups of people, protein counts in you when that's not the case. When you start to get into the short hand counts of consecutive proteins in this group and then in the other group, and when you understand the basic science of chromosomes, X and Y, Y and X, and the X and Y comes from the father, the XX comes from the mother, and they donate to you that information, and percentages of that information is coming from other relatives that are most likely closely related. Then you would know that a lot of us are not the same people, or we are not as closely related as these percentages when people are constantly saying a percentage of this and that. We are uniquely different, and we are uniquely, created, So, but this group is not a African based group, even though you do have these haplogroups and sub-Sahara genetic information and the layouts and everything. They are not a Hamitic group of people. They are not a Shemitic group of people. These are just a Japhetic group of people. And this is one of those things to where we are educating ourselves as Hebrew Israelites to spot the the manipulation, if I could say the word, the manipulation of DNA information when it comes to stuff like this. So this is Nat Geo, a commercial DNA company, and they have the right to promote whatever graphics they want. But when you get into the Wikipedia sites, and some people go, well, Wikipedia is this, Wikipedia is that, but also Wikipedia has source information, and a lot of Israelite camps and a lot of other people and high-end thinkers go to Wikipedia for information. So we can't just say, okay, people edit the site and do this, but at the same time, you realize the source information has articles and PDF files on another location confirming the information that they gave to Wikipedia. So I just want y'all to be open minded on that information and those things that are available. So we do have R1 on that genetic grouping of information, but it doesn't make the group of people Hamitic or Shemitic, you know. So when I look at this, I'm looking at it and I'm understanding that they're trying to say, okay, the original people, the narrative should be the original people came from the source region of the Great Lakes in Africa, or the continent of Africa, and they mutated from these people into different groups of people that branched out throughout the world, and that's how they trying to make the story and narrate the story, when in reality it's the opposite. Is a lot of people um basically became um different race of people at different times in different regions. There was no one or two people that was like creating billions of people. It was a lot of people, and then they just, mutated in their different regions. You know, it's not, you know, the oldest people, yes, they are from the regions of the now civilizations and from what they call the Near East and everything else. And the reason why you tend to get Egypt civilization uh, with heavy carbon footprints and so on, because more people settled in that region for a longer time versus people in the Near East region, which which will be mostly a lot of people migrating throughout that whole region because of different droughts and flood season and so on. So people had to migrate, and so not too many people would settle in those regions for too long while migrating around those sources of water and coastal areas to where you could, hunt and farm and do things. Um, so, so that's where we have to get better at understanding the information that, you know people just existed different times in different regions, and they are closely related, but they are not the same people. I'm not the same person that my brother is. So yes, Noah's sons and everything, yes, we know, but all these people wasn't living together. They had different diets, and they created their own people groups. When I talk about race, my understanding of race and people, it comes down to these three sons of Noah people group, rather than this society version of race. And then ethnic group, my understanding is a detailed grouping of people underneath those sons that know exactly their culture, ID, or identity, and so on. And that how I, understand this information of DNA, and then the other stuff, it just varies. Um, A lot of terms are used to just easily say, okay, these are people that are in the same region, that speak the same language, that have the same culture, that practice similar style of businesses, and they could be closely related. They could be, but we are going to be very lazy and not concerned about that, and we're going to just label these people Arabs because they look like mixed people when most of the time they probably are mixed or they probably are not mixed. Or we're going to just call these people Moors because these are black people and all black people look alike. We're going to call these people all walk people because, a lot of these people live in the same region, they speak similar dialects of the same languages, and they seem like Native American people to me, so we just call them, a better term for a lack of who they are in general, Arawak people. Even though the same people are found in Asia, Greenland, Iceland, and different other parts of mainland China, and different parts of Japan and everything. So I'm renting, and I'm probably losing a lot of people with what I'm, getting into. But there's a way to properly look at these things and to see how they want to, you know, direct your thought versus, you seeing something and you go, okay, 3% Scandinavian, 3% Native American, 3% Asia Minor. Those are 3% a little bit accurate information of these people group being closely, is this like separate 3% or is this like 3% adding up to something bigger? And literally all these people are the same. The Scandinavian, like most of those people in Great Britain, the pale complexion white people are from Scandinavian countries. And then you have their royal families being from Germany or from France. And then you have a lot of those people being from Spain, whether they are um, dark complexion, light complexion. You have a lot of those people being from Italy. Once again, whether it's a dark complexion or light complexion. And then you have other people being pygmy groups and other dark groups of people from the continent of Africa. And then you have other groupings of people from similar um, heritage in Europe and that country as well. So, you know, this could easily be 100% um, Native American. This could be easily 100% Great Britain, 100% Scandinavian, 100% um, Asia Minor, because all these people are dealing with haplogroup range of people that are trying to fit white people into history and time. So it's like, okay, so where's the percentage that they spent the time amount in Africa? Because both these groups was in Africa. you know but it just don't say. So, and yes, there's a lot of Native American people that are, Q and R1, Q1 and R1, and these same people identify themselves as either African American or Hispanic. And Hispanic is just dealing with um, speaking Spanish, and African American is just dealing with most likely a skin complexion of being black, when these people are actually just all Native Americans. Even when they go, okay, my ancestry is from Spain, Portugal, and I have proof. Well, again, a lot of those people groups are still closely related to the Japhetic people. In fact, those two, the R and the Q group, are closely related. So it's not like there's a big gap between those branches of Japhites versus other Japhites. So I often comment, and sometimes it's trolling, but sometimes it's just, telling Latino people exactly who they are. And then you have a lot of Latinos that are heavily embracing African heritage. That's cool and good and all, but what about your Native American heritage? Because a lot of Native American people are dark complexioned people, and they have nothing to do or to deal with African heritage. They are just Native Americans, the Garifuna people and other Carib people in that region. They are just dark complexion people, and they have no connection with Africans in that region, or African American people, and so on. These are just um, native people to the Americas. And like I said before, there's three different groups. One group is dealing with a Shemitic Moabite group, which are people from um, Australia who originated in Asia mainland, and they relocated in Australia and different parts of Central and South America. And then you have the Japhetic people from Asia that came from mainland Asia and the different islands of the sea in Asia and relocated to the Americas. And then you have the European Japhetic people that relocated mostly to North America region, mostly on the east coastal to the mid-eastern plains of the United States and Canada. And most of these people are various shades of dark complexion, and these are people that often get confused with being African American, even though they have a heritage of being Native American. And like I used to watch on YouTube Dane Calloway, and he was heavy into his people and so on. And he should be. You should be that proud, and you should be willing to fight people thoughts and comments about you and your people, because um, many of us want to listen to popular belief from famous people and other people while doing our research about who exactly we are, and we tend to grab onto that identity, and we think we are those people, and all of a sudden you're not. This is what happened to me when I thought I was a Jew. I thought I was Judah, African American. I'm black. I was, um, my spirit bear witness of these curses and plagues to me, my family, and the so-called black community. And I wanted more information. I needed closure on who exactly I am and where I'm from. And I found out that I'm from the tribe of Yoruba in Nigeria. I found out in Israel I'm from the tribe of Gad. I found out my closest relatives are people in Ghana and Cameroon. And then, you know, from that information, I started to build a understanding, because I was under the impression, and when people, because I knew white people that worked in Africa, and they would tell me story about African people, and they would tell me about West African people, and they was telling me about the Yoruba and the Igbo people. And for some odd reason, I thought the Yoruba people were just, um, Hamitic, heavy Hamitic groups of people that was, um, what's the word? Um, Hamitic people that was backed and sponsored by European countries, which, that could be the case. I don't know, but I thought they were just Hamitic people that was put as a watch group over different parts of Africa, and then the Igbo people were multiple group of powerful tribes in Africa that was fighting that resistance of colonization via, capitalism and other forms of um, European or Western society um, structures that tend to take away from people heritage and culture. And I would hear stories, and they the white people was in, the petrol business, or there was doctors or missionaries, and they go, well, these people are like this, the other people are like that. They always at conflict with each other. They tend to do this, they tend to do that, and and basically, we're the same people. We just had different puppeteers and strings being pulled against us to divide us, and to not make us um, connect the dots on being united people and understanding who we are, and knowing that we suffer the same problems. And I wasn't too interested in those conversations, because, at that time I was like a super libertarian. I was always thinking about, capitalism this, and you know, as capitalism as a weapon, and capitalism as a consumption weapon, and that's where a lot of eugenicists and elite minded people that are making world policy for populations and population control, that's where they go with the thoughts. And I was that way because I wasn't, too pleased of the people group that I came from. And I'm just saying this as a regular black American, from watching me grow up and watching other black um, people grow up. I wasn't too pleased about my people group. So I was definitely big on, capitalism and the content of consumption and consuming as a weapon. And that general thought process was equal to white people concept of eugenics. And eugenics is just your overall, and my understanding of the definition, and the definition that I want to use is just, a depopulation tool, a tool to manage data, to secure data, to introduce ways to depopulate people groups, and to manage the population. So um, I often, wasn't into none of those topics dealing with Africa, and so I understand a lot of Native American black people going, "We are not Africans. We are this." Like I always say, if your forefathers have Native American lineage, there's most likely that they are Native American versus a Bantu person that been brought over as a slave. So um, often at work, I was always meeting and working around, different people from West Africa, and sometimes they'll, talk to me about Africa. Sometimes they won't. And most of the time, um, it is true what they say. When you become a visa person, they tell you when you're from Africa, they do tell you not to socialize, or not to get involved with black people in America. And but often, people tend to, socialize with me, even though I'm not a big person that like to socialize with people. They just become comfortable around me, and they would tell me, little secrets and stuff about their people, just like white people would do when they go, okay, we got a black guy that don't like other black people, and that think differently about slavery, and they get comfortable and they start telling you stuff, and it's like, oh, why are they telling me this? It's like I could care less what, I'm an individual. Those are groups of people. I'm different from that. And that's how this society want you to look at yourself. You as an individual, while they group you as a whole. You know, so it took me a while to come to this point, to this full circle point, to this understanding, and it'll take other people just as long, if not shorter, if not longer, if not, maybe not. Maybe some of this information is not useful for you. Maybe you have to go away with this society in order for your understanding to be known. So, all those things I remember, and I laugh at now, even though those same thought processes was in the process of killing me, hurting me, because I had no understanding, I had no guidance, I had none of those things, and that same thought process of me saying, okay, the information that I'm gaining from knowing is gonna hurt the person that don't know more than the person that I am knowing all this information. No, it hurts just as equally. And I found that out, and I went through my midlife crisis, and I was like, okay, what next? I got all this free time. What's next? And I had the dream, and I after the dream that the Most High gave to me, I was like, okay, I gotta figure out something. I gotta do this. I got the time, and I start to connect the dots, and I was like, okay, it's gonna be a while because I still have these tendencies of wanting to be like everybody else, even though my skin complexion is not like everybody else, and it was just one of those things to where I had to slowly learn, you know, I had to, be put into that situation, oh, consuming too much is going to hurt you. Well, consuming too less is going to hurt you as well. So, once I start to get into the understanding of who I am, I start to look deeper and deeper into everything. Start to question everything because, like most of us, we before we come into this information, we are woke. We are critical thinkers. We are conspiracy theorists. We are, libertarians, and we are looking for the last hope of this society for information. The French grouping of people groups that are dealing with individuals that are saying the government is this, the government. Well, that's true, but who's running the government? People. So, these are people that are around you and your family that are influencing things, and you have no control over those things. So you only have control of the information that you want to know and the information that you seek. And that's how all that worked. And all of a sudden, all that information that you were seeking and knew wasn't connecting the dots on other stuff. It was just 10% of information, 30% at the most, and the rest of the information is edited because they are editing the information because historical ties dealing with people groups that are dark complexion people in order for them to have the proper control in history and manage rewritten history. They would have to edit content from real history to control their narrative of what they are saying. So they couldn't say stuff about black people. So they was always making it about this people and this people. Two groups of white people. But they wouldn't say, hey, two different groups of white people. They just go the banking people, the billionaires, the elite, the scientists. They put like a this versus that, America versus Russia. Still same. So it's just one of those things to where when you hear the argument so many times and there's no conclusion to um, a a balance of how things should be working or how to settle the dispute or where's the war, if this is the case, where are the bodies and the battles. And there were and there is battles and bodies, but not in the understanding that you would know of, because the media and other information is kept away from us, and we tend to get percentages of the information just like anything else. So DNA, the same thing with DNA, you only getting percentages of this information. So this ties back into a lot of stuff that we learn through life and in our everyday um, routine dealing with time. And we tend to just miss information. We tend to not care about information, even though the information is there. And not just the information is there, but people are telling us often about things that we should be aware of, but we are just not that that deep in thought to care about it. We are stuck on ourselves, and we are worried about other issues in life. That's just how people are. But it's one of those things to where when time slows down for you and you are in trouble and you get, the opportunity to think and to say, okay, how I'm gonna get myself out of this situation, how I'm gonna get better, how am I gonna recover from this, how I'm gonna protect myself from this happening again. Then you start to go, okay, what if this person was telling me something that I need to know? What about this? What about that? And then you go, okay, am I going crazy, or am I, really having a breakthrough on information that I need to have um, priority to protect myself and to better my life. And I was at that point. I was there, and I was like, well, I just gotta, do better at thinking, because I thought I knew, and that wasn't the case. And I started to watch a lot of videos, like a lot of chemist stuff, a lot of Israelite stuff, a lot of everything, and a lot of Infowars, a lot of And then when I started to see, the information start to um, connect dots and stuff. I was like, okay, so is is that the reason why Alex Jones couldn't say much? Because he's basically telling us, the story of how white people whitewashed history and rewrote and was putting dictators into different African and Caribbean countries to overthrow, these people. It wasn't just, a plant being planted in the Caribbeans and Africa. It was, you know, the remnant of colonization, being placed. These people paying taxes to their dictator and to monarchs and to banking cartels. So, and then you find out that all this wealth is dealing with, money that they are trying to hide from slavery and other um, merchant trading during slavery, during, the sub-Sahara slave trade and during the Atlantic slave trade. So you have lots of money of many families and companies that been involved with slave trade that are dealing with old money. These are the structures of those pillars to systemic racism. So once you go into that network of old money, it's is high value. It's not cash. It's your local infrastructure projects that are constantly being remodeled. It's your NGO. It's your hospital facilities that have been, there for a long time. It's colleges, universities. It's a lot of things that goes into old money. People having their names on countries, cities, counties, courthouses, hundreds of statues, roads, other monuments, um, cemeteries, you name it, uh, naval ships, air bases, military tanks, and so on. So old money is not actually money, but it's content that they put into, oh yeah, museums, art houses. It's just content that they relocate money into to hide. So, and everybody know the Rothschilds and other elite families um, done this, and they promise and they tell people all the time they are not rich anymore. They don't have any um, control over banking policy or anything, but they still do, and they've been caught bribing government officials. They've been caught, you know, creating shell companies, or they've been caught, with all these NGO companies, doing these food aid kickbacks for money and free farming, free labor for crops and everything. So these are things that old money people keep recycling for their wealth. But and then at the same time, the irony is those same people they want to depopulate the planet to where they are at a manageable population to control. But they are doing a good job thus far. So, what's the rush? What's the end goal for them? You know, and they know for a fact that they have a limited time to rule, and they just want whatever population that is left confined to urban spaces, and the rest of the regions throughout different places are off limits. That's why you have those UNESCO sites to where you have tribal people barely able to access their own land, but then you have a mention and other, you know, NGO structures on the site saying, this is a for heritage, you know, research lab or blah blah blah. They do that just because they want to enjoy whatever left of this place to themselves before their judgment, whether it be death, whether it be, you know, the um the judgment of the Most High when He gets here, and they just wanna, be as greedy as a hog as possible, and once their time is up, most likely they would, be content with what they had done because they knew this time was gonna be coming. They knew that they only had a limited time and space to operate with, so they could care less about a thermonuclear warfare because they'll be in bunkers and they'll be trying to get into the upper atmosphere. So they know the days are shortened because of the different information that they went to the link to get the information or the understanding for, especially with people. They broke down DNA information, and then they basically said, okay, this group, that group, this group, that group, and now that all this information is exposing them, they're like, okay, we still have our financial institutions, to where we can manipulate until, people find out, and people are finding out. Now it's Bitcoin, and now they are in a panic because, people are not using banks the way they are used to, especially with COVID. I don't know how many people been to the bank. I haven't been to my bank in a long time. Like maybe I go to the ATM for something, but most of the time I'm at work. I'm using the debit um, machine at the register, or I go to a a check and cash place to get a money order to where it's free, versus the bank. At my bank, I'm a member, and they charge me $5. It's like they charging $5 from my account to pay for my money order when I could just get it free from the check and cash place, or another company that my job owns. They offer money orders for 60 cents, you know. But I rather, go to the place that give it to me for free, because at certain places that my company owns, they want your social security number, and they already have it, but it's like, it's like a ghetto thing, just in case you go and you get the money order and you want a refund for it. They have your information down, and after so many refunds, they can hold the right to reject that refund. So, like some of those places ask for my thumbprint, my social security number, signature, so on. And it's like, this is just for a money order. This is just for cashing a check. So, but I get direct deposit, so I don't have to worry about that anymore, about the checks. But those are the things that we often have to deal with when you are uh, dealing with, how fast information and the awareness of people when they start to inform themselves, and how they start to protect themselves about or against certain things. And the banks, they're aware about this fintech, and fintech is all these cash apps. Fintech is dealing with Bitcoin. Fintech is dealing with um, cash cards that you could just upload money to, and they give you all these rewards and other things. Banks hate that because banks have all these credit cards that they've been trying to market to everybody about flying, hotel, all these rewards, cash back, and you could just get a payday card or a loadable cash card, and they give you the same benefits without that being a credit card. It's your money, and you have fees on it, dealing with ATM outside the network or other transactions. But other than that, um, Jamie Dimon, uh, Jamie Dimon, he came out and he's like, that's his big nightmare, and that's good. That's good that um, people are figuring out ways not to be involved into the banking system and going around it, and that's good. And so COVID has been a blessing in disguise, because like all these banks, they first of all down want to give you your own money back to begin with, and now they made it easier for you to avoid seeing them and take your money out of the bank whenever, not the large amounts. They would never let you take out those large amounts, but it's making it easier for you to avoid those stupid questions at the teller window saying, hey, you must go on a nice, outing, or you doing this with your money. It's like, I'm not gonna tell you what I'm doing with my money, and they would ask, and you don't have to eh, tell them anything. All they should be doing is like asking, what's the denomination you want your money back in, and give it to you. The same moment as you answer that question, not a day or two, because they have to loan money from another bank, or they have to collect business money to package for you the next day, which do happen. And we just have to continue to evolve with this understanding that we have. So when the next pandemic come, we'll be able to continue to break this this society hold of what they think they have on the population, but don't. Especially this whole on the Hebrew Israelites. I like what I see on TikTok. I like what I see on YouTube with different groups and different setups. No and yes. I don't agree with everybody camp. I don't agree with everybody organization or everybody elder or so on. But they are doing things to promote our heritage. To unite what they are assuming the right people groups and personnel to benefit themselves and their doctrine and to do other things, from that point. And it's a good thing because, like, a lot of people all the time, comment sections always filled with people saying, go back to Africa, go do this. Well, a lot of people in Africa, different places, are making it easier. They go, we give you this, we give you that, and a lot of people are taking their offer up, and that's a good thing. But at the same time, there's those same people that go back to Africa. Guess what? We don't want to go back and then see y'all over there all the time, which do happen. So y'all just have to be mindful. You know, yes, there'll be majority dark complexion people over there, but those white tourists, just as soon as January, December, November, when the snow come in the America and the United States and Canada and different parts of Europe and different season of time in the northern and southern hemisphere, those people will be in Africa, and they will be, there for a while, and then we could do the same thing. We could just tell them to go back, So this is what we have to grab onto and to look forward to. So, and that was my rant. My rant was starting off with ranting about DNA and the information that people tend to use, and I would like to see more black people get it on YouTube and TikTok with DNA information and bypassing this part right here, the percentages, and just go straight to the steak and potatoes, steak and potatoes. So these are two people groupings that are very similar. So the other issue will probably be the whole concept of mtDNA and yDNA. What's what when, or what is who when you get the understanding of a E1B1A paternal group versus a different mtDNA group. my understanding is you want to be closest to Israel as possibly with your maternal group. And your maternal group with Israel would be your L2, any other L2 branches. And if you have the information to double down on the L2 group with the YDNA information from the your mother or your sister, closest male relative, that's beautiful. E1B1A, same thing, same thing. That's great. Other than that, we just have to, meditate and pray about the different relationships that you're trying to get from women. You just gotta pray and meditate on what's next. What to expect from this society and the next one. This is dealing with Israelites when you know you're Israel by DNA information, and when you are dealing with, the information of you being mixed either by DNA information or from physical appearance. So it's just one of those things to where you just gotta humble yourself, like most of us want, the heathens to humble themselves to the Most High Word. Well, we have to do the same thing constantly. So that what's keep me grounded and thinking the way I do about different things is I have to be humble, and that's why it's even um, worse for me now because I'm not big on socializing at all like I used to, and like people are still attracted to me, still wanna talk to me, still wanna hang out with me, still want. I'm like I don't do any of that. They all the time people ask me, "You off Friday, Saturday? Can you do this with me? You off Friday and Saturday? What are you doing on those days? Hey, can you switch days? Can we do this?" No, that's no. I rest. I recharge myself. I study if I need to study something. I relax by listening to other brothers and sisters teach the word. Other than that, um, I run my errands early Friday that day, or early on Friday, and then the rest of the day, I just relax and catch up on some sleep, and then before the sunset, I start my cooking, start my last minute cleaning, and then I eat, and I just get into the Sabbath. Um, and there's nothing, um, nothing, too extreme about that, but, that's my life. That's how I see fit to carry on right now, because before, maybe Wednesday through Sunday, I'll be acting a fool. And in my neighborhood in Houston, I live around strip clubs. And percentage of a good percentage of my time, I lived in this neighborhood, and I used to go to all of them. Even ones that wasn't located near me, I would go And this was probably like before work I would probably go after work. Sometimes when I was working one job and not the other job, and when the job go, okay, you're gonna work a double, go home, get some rest, and come back. I would just go to the strip club, have a good time, get some drinks in, go back, make some more money, and leave. So it's one of those things to where um, it was a dark age for me. It was, the worst. And nowadays, me living that lifestyle now, I probably wouldn't last like maybe a week or so because, it would be so many hidden dangers that are not known to me that are present at the time. And I would probably be, dead because of that. But me knowing what I know now and knowing that all this stuff, um, runs out on interest and you being entertained and you being, a part of whatever um, demonic spirit that is plaguing you in this society to do that, it just, it stops, it stopped in me. And um, I remember when I stopped drinking, and most of it was dealing with health problems. I had, I still have bad acid reflux, but I was having it real bad when I was drinking, and it was like, okay, I can't drink beer no more. I can't drink. And I wasn't really a beer person, but I was starting to pair beers that I would drink often together well with food, and it was like, okay, this goes well and everything. And just when I was getting used to doing that stuff, my body was like, well, this is not good for you anymore. And then the liquors, the combinations of liquor, my go-to liquor was gin and tonic and Parrot Bay or Malibu rum. I couldn't do that anymore, and it was like, okay, well, I should look into, just stop drinking altogether. And so that happened, and then I was like, maybe it's a good idea to do this, do that, date a little, you know, maybe date somebody different, maybe date um, old women that I used to date. That that was a bad idea, and it was like, how could you forget that was the personality? Well, I was drinking most of the time, so I wasn't, too interested in the personality. Most of the time, you just want um, company. You want good, beautiful company that will, follow you back home, and you won't have to worry about being robbed or something. And you fall into those traps, and once you are aware of those traps, it's like, wait a minute, I'm not drinking anymore, and I'm just now noticing this problem with this person. So I was glad that I was able to experience those things to bring me along to this point, and other understanding, because like it's just one of those things to where you are often walking in a dreamlike state for a long time, and you're content with stuff. You have control of things, and some things you don't have control of. And once you are in that dreamlike state, in a real dream, you start to get better at controlling certain things, and so you are thinking you are, doing better, when in reality you're not. You just are aware of your shortcomings, and your shortcomings are coming back with vengeance to take over you as soon as you are not aware that they are going to take care or take over you with vengeance. And I just got better at knowing those things, and I was like, just don't do it. Hey, we going out just for a drink. Let's do it. And no, I don't. So and so coming. Well, definitely no, I'm not coming. But it's gonna be me, them. No, thanks. I know better. Well, you don't have to drink it. Just the place got good food. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I'm not trying to go home with anybody. Yeah. So I got better at those things, and it helped me, focus on stuff like this. And I was like, man, all my drinking buddies, I start to examine all the people that I was like cool with, happy to hang out with, close friends with. I start to examine them. I start to examine family members too, because like I say, when people are in the understanding of having father lineages tied to Native American groups, just most likely you're Native American. So um, I have people that are cousins that are possibly Native American um, groups of people. Other than that, I just examined them. I'm like, okay, there's a possibility they are Native American, because their dad is this, and they said, but most of the time, most of us don't live with our dads, so that's their problem. That's their journey and pursuit of happiness to find out about their family. This is mine, and sad thing was, like, my mom withheld that information from me, and I never questioned. My mom just told me at a certain age, I believe 15 or 16, once I got that old, that she wasn't responsible for me anymore. And like, if I ended in jail or something bad happened to me, I was going to be responsible for that problem myself. And she was like, that's it, and that was first and only conversation we had, and that was it. I did the rest of whatever without her support. If anything, like, my grandma said, hey, if you want to go to college and do this, just do it. Don't worry about them. Other than that, my mom, my grandma's sister, my mom's sisters, other relatives, they go, hey, you better go get a job. Get a job first thing. And most of that is dealing with how white people probably talk to them, or how they experience the stuff, because not too many people are college educated in my family, even though now this later generation in my family, a lot of them are going to school, and some do have degrees, some don't, but it was a lot of, hey, you gotta go get a job, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of white people was always, um, saying those things to them about black people, about them and other black people that they know that black people are lazy, black people can't keep a job, black people can't get a job. Well, now the we can have all the jobs we want. Now we can have all the degrees we want. We just won't have our identity. We just won't have an understanding of who exactly we are and what other people are trying to hide from us. We just won't have old money like the established families that ruling this time period and this society are having. We'll have our little space and time of happiness and content towards the achievements that we are making. But other than that, we won't have that peace of mind of being directly linked to other prominent um, people groups and tribes of people in their society or in history. And that's the way um, these heathens would like us to have it. And we shouldn't be that way. We should be okay. I want to be like this, but I want to know. I really want to know who I am, and that was me. And now that I know who I am, I could just listen to people talk about who they are or who they think I am, and I could pick up information from them about it, or I could just laugh to myself about what they are saying. And sometimes I could even say, oh, okay, well, who are these people then? So it's just one of those things that um, we have to, consider and take in mind or take to heart um, exactly, our end goals, what's next. So let's see. Pretty sure this is a long video. Yeah. So I guess I'm done ranting. I feel like I did enough. I did enough and I said enough, but I'm not paid enough. But I I do enjoy coming to all with whatever information, and often people like the information. I'm not just saying on YouTube, but I'm saying at work, because like at work, most of the time I'm constantly talking because I'm in the food service industry. People are asking me all kinds of questions because they want to know about food. They want to be entertained. They want a very short conversation. And most of the time, I'm not having it. I'm in the mindset of knowing what people are there for, because it's retail too. It's just, I work at a food store, and we are just, doing a regular routine so many times a day, to where we already know a lot of people eating habits. We already know um, what they are thinking or what they are looking at before they are saying it. We already know they're lying, how they lie, or we already know if they're gonna steal or whatever. So it's just one of those things to where you know you get used to, and you go, okay, man, people just want to BS with you, and and you BS with people for so long to where they get comfortable and they tell you anything. And it's like, I really don't care. I'm not interested, but this is work. I have to sell you a product. Myself is not included, but you know, I'm, you know, limiting myself to how I'm, acting and portraying myself. So you want the real me, you'll get it too. Just say something that I think is not appropriate at the time. You'll see, the tribe of Gad in action, or you just see, same old black person that semi-educated, that have a carefree, personality. And people tend to see that more than the tribe of Gad. A few people go, "Oh, look, it's the Hebrew Israelite guy." Gotta be careful. And in reality, I don't really care about what they say. It don't hurt me. And like some people go HI, or some people say other things, and it's like it's whatever. I'm not offended. And I joke on TikTok about being a Gen Leaper because I feel like I'm a part of the Generation X, to where I'm not bothered by being bullied or harassed. If you do any of those things to me, you'll get it going back to you. So I was like, it it don't hurt my feelings. So and then people are like, what's HI? What's this? What's that? I'm like, is this? Is that? It's like, oh, I gotta look into it. I'm like, oh well, you gotta look into it, but I could just tell you what it is. It's like, oh, that's what it is. Yeah. It's like, oh, so you think you this? I'm like, I know I'm this. I research it. This is what I do now. It's like, oh, well, can you tell me this then? I was like, well, I thought you was getting the to say, oh, he's this black supremacist guy. No, no, I need information about this because I got black people. Oh, but me and them are not the same people. So it's just interesting, and it's um it's just one of those things to where I'm just used to it. It's just like I sleep just the same way I sleep um, comfortably. I go to work and I work comfortably. And I've been at my job for a long time, and I still got like a good amount of time, unless the Most High call me home, or unless the Most High take me home. Either way, I'm a blessed Hebrew Israelite to make it this far. I'm blessed to know exactly who I am and where I'm going, and that's what I look forward to. I look forward to more of my people finding out who they are. I look forward to more heathens finding out who they are. So this information is not just for um, my brothers and sisters, but this is for other people. Other people that just want to know. Now So with that being um, my talk of the day, but not all of it, I just want to say once again, all praise to the Most High Yahweh and to His Son, my brother, Amashiach Yahushai. Peace and blessings once again to my brothers and sisters from the Israelite tribes. Thank y'all for once again the views and the comments. And I guess since the comments are interesting, I think I'll do like some comment videos more often because like sometimes I want to go one way with a thought and video concept, and most of the time it's boring. It is like this information is boring, but it's something that we need to know. And um, sometimes I need something to go. Okay, this is a challenging thought, or this is something that a lot of people tend to ask, and I should answer it as best as I can, or point them into the direction of the information. So go ahead and comment, and I will try to build videos around comment section questions and answering, and hopefully your answers would be or your questions would be answered, and everybody would be edified. Other than that, um, I think um, this video must come to a close because I doubt a lot of y'all are gonna listen to all of this. It's close to 2 hours, I believe, close to 2 hours, and um, I'm just ranting about different things, but hopefully these are the things that most of us, would care about, as an individual that are parts and pieces of different people groups that we know for a fact still exist till this day, and all our information is being hidden and suppressed by other people groups. So hopefully this is useful information. Hopefully somebody take some parts of this information with them and say, okay, what understanding do I need to hold from this information to better my life, my being, to better other people, so on. So once again, thank y'all, and peace to all.